All right, bear with me 1 second. Shalom, this is the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yohanna. We're out here in the UK also. And what are we out here doing? We're out here teaching that according to the Bible and history, that the black man is the real Jew, the black man suffering in the ghettos, the black man that everyone says is good for nothing, the same black man that everyone hates and everyone thinks doesn't contribute to society. But according to Bible and history, you are the real Jews. You are the people of God. You are the people that God loves. You are the people that heard the voice of God and lived, man. That's you. But why don't we call ourselves Israelites today? Because through slavery, our identity was wiped away from. We was taught Catholicism, Christianity, and up to modern day religions too, Egyptology, Pan-Africanism. We was taught so much different things. 1 second. We was taught so many different things till now where we don't care who we are. You ask people who they are now, what do they say? I'm a child of God. God don't see color. And they say many things instead of answering the question of who are they? And that's the problem. Look here. And that's the problem. You get answers like that simply because these people don't know who they are. And that's us. When you read the Bible, it says the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And ain't nobody more lost than blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians, man. Ain't nobody searching more than blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? But we're claiming we're found and you know who you are. You obviously don't. If you call yourself black, black is a color. If you're there calling yourself African, Africa is a continent full of many countries. You got Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Montserrat, the Congos. You know what I mean? You got so many places. So for you even to call yourself African, that's a blanket statement right there. That's something that's gonna cover everything. 1 second. That right there is a blanket statement that isn't enough, and that's the problem. So who are we really? We are the Israelites. We are the Jews, man. The same people that you read about in the Bible. That's who we are. And in the scripture breakdown class, we're going to get into a topic today, which is the leaders of black people don't have no solutions for black people. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Barakatha. I can't hear anything after that.
Hello.
Hello. Getting anything? 1 second. I might know why. Bear me a second. How about now?
Hello.
I can hear you.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello.
Shalom. Barakatha. All right, so so today we're gonna get into in the UK, and to be fair, this doesn't even just apply to the UK. All over the world, the leaders of black people don't have the answers. They claim to do. They claim they can help you, but the truth is they can't, man. I'm sorry, brother. If you switch off the feedback on your side. All right, Thawada for that.
Better?
Yeah. Not quite. I think while you're watching me, you have the volume on. So anything I say, saying it back. All right, I got it.
No?
So that's better. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right. That's better. All right. So yeah, so it's not even just to the UK. It's literally like wherever we go, you know, the leaders of black people, they don't have the answers. So we're gonna get into that today. So I'm gonna get into an article. Now this is from the Channel 4 News, and this is the investigation was done by a black MP called David Ami. How's that now? That's 12. Yeah, that's it, right? That's 12. So yeah, it's done by a black MP called David Ami. Now you know he's a spokesman in the UK for black people, and when I say black people, I'm referring to those of Caribbean descent, whether your parents are Jamaican, Trinidad. Yeah, whether it's Jamaica, it might be my side. Yeah, whether it's the West Indies, you know. So he's a spokesman for them, where you know he talks about the help they need, the support that they need, and in his investigation, he found out that black people and some other ethnic minorities, for certain crimes, they get locked up more than white people. And that's the article that we're going to get into right now. So I'm going to screen share it, and I'm going to get into it. Okay. All right, so we're going to screen share. So this is from the 4 News. So now in the UK, Channel 4 concert. All right, so this is the Channel 4 News. And you know, like in the UK, this is a very big thing where you know people watch it, people see what's going on in the world, and so forth. So you know, like this is very key. So now, 1 second, I'm gonna let the brother from Amsterdam read it. 1 second. All right. All right. Yeah, brother, I've just sent you a link via WhatsApp.
Good.
All right. So for those that are online, you can look at it too. But we're going to read through it and see what the facts are all about. So remember now, this is the Channel 4 News, and this is called Fact Check, meaning there's a fact.
Fact check. David Lammy.
That's right.
David Lammy MP has published a review into how people from ethnic minorities are treated in the criminal justice system.
So now this article is about how ethnic minorities. So now, is ethnic minorities just black people? No, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, of course, in the UK, you got, you know, I mean, the Indians, Iranian, Turks. You got many different minorities. But remember what I said, David Ami, he's a spokesman for the Caribbean community. So for him to even investigate this means that his whole mindset or his whole goal was basically to show something to Israelites about how when we do crimes, the sentencing ain't the same. Read on.
Black, Asian, and minority ethnic BAME people make up 14% of the general population, but a quarter of the prison population, the reports find.
So now imagine that blacks, Asians, and other minorities of the UK, we only make up 14%. But when it comes to isn't, we make up a quarter of the population. Imagine that.
Oh,
One second. Yeah, brother. Any chance you can unmute your camera?
can you hear me? You can see me, right?
I can see you, brother.
Okay.
That's right. I can see you now. Yeah, you done it. Unmuted it.
Yeah.
All right, so now we make up 14% of the population in isn't, but yet out in the UK we are only 14%. Now, why is that? You're telling me a small minority can make up so much, then there's obviously something wrong. But we're gonna find out as we read on. Read.
For out of 10 young people in custody are from ethnic minorities, and this proportion has risen sharply over the last 10 years. No one
So
is sure why.
So now over the last 10 years, it has risen, meaning it seems like more people are getting locked up are the ethnic minorities. Now, make no mistake, England is the country of a white man. So surely the majority being locked up, it would make sense that it's white people, seen as England is their home country. But there's like, well, hang on, like over the past 10 years, it seems like the people that we arrest more and more are the ethnic minorities, the people that are only 14% of the UK. Read on.
Are the differences down to institutional racism or to
So
choices?
one thing they say is like, yeah, is it down to institutional racism? Which of course we know it is. Let's be honest. We know that, but of course, you know, them being white and them writing this, they don't see that. So they're gonna say, well, could this be racism? And the answer is yes. But as we read on, they're going to even admit it themselves. Read on.
Or to the choices made by criminals. Frustratingly, we don't think today's report can answer this fundamental question. The analysis. There is plenty of evidence of racial disparity in different parts of the criminal justice system.
I'm sorry, you should read that one more time, brother.
Are the differences down to institutional racism or to the choices made by criminals? Frustratingly, we don't think today's report can answer this fundamental question.
So now they're trying to say, well, the report we have today, that can't answer it. And of course, now coming from white people, they would say that like maybe, but you know, we can't really answer it. No one knows. When how about you ask the people in the ghettos? How about you ask those minorities, and you might get the answer. But of course, if you leave it up to them, what are they going to say? Well, no one really knows. You know, it's a matter of speculation. Read on.
The analysis. There is plenty of evidence of racial disparity in different parts of the criminal justice system, but not in every part, and it's hard to attribute cause and effect.
Yeah, read on.
In keeping with previous research, today's reviews show that people from minority ethnic groups tend to be arrested at higher rates than whites.
So imagine that they have to admit that black people and other minorities get arrested at a more higher rate than white people. Now, make no mistake, we are in England, and England is full of white people, all up in Newcastle upon Tyne, Lancashire, Liverpool, wherever you want to go. There's white people there, and still you are getting arrested more at the higher rates. Read on.
But after being arrested, they are slightly less likely to be charged by the Crown Prosecution Service than white suspects.
Read on.
There is no evidence that juries are biased against BAME defendants. They are found guilty at very similar rates to whites.
So now, one point they're trying to make is in just very standard crimes, these sentences they get, they're pretty much just the same. But we're going to find out some more now. When it comes to specific crimes, we're going to find out if racism is there. Read on.
What happens at sentencing? One statistic which has received a lot of attention today is the fact that BAME offenders convicted of a drug offense are around 240% more likely to get a prison sentence than a white offender.
So now it's getting more direct. When it comes to drug offenses, then blacks and other ethnic groups, they seem to get locked up longer. So now, why is that? Because amongst white people, a black man or a minority, you're the face of drug dealing. Even though you don't sell the most drugs, you ain't the richest from drugs. You are the face of it, and you're more likely to get locked up for a longer time more than a white man. Meanwhile, white people sell the most drugs in their suits and ties. And meanwhile, you just selling some small 10 bags of weed, you know what I mean, barely struggling to pay the rent on what you sold. You will get locked up much longer than any white man. Read on.
The figure comes from this Ministry of Justice analysis of sentencing by ethnicity in England and Wales in 2015.
So now there's even evidence. So it's not something that we just say. There's even evidence to back this up that depending on your race and the crime you do, you will get locked up longer. Now, is this just only happening in the UK? No, it's not. In America, it's very commonly known that black people get locked up longer for anything more than white people. And not just in America alone, in Amsterdam, in France as well. 1 second. All right. Yeah. So it's not something that just happens only in the UK. In America, it happens. And you know what I mean? Like wherever we are, if we do a crime, you are more susceptible to get locked up. I've got another one I'm going to send you. Now, to even back that up, I'm going to get into a situation where a white man and an Israelite on the exact same crime, and we're gonna see how long both of them got locked up for. So I'm gonna send you another link just right now. Should be receiving it. Yeah, I've just sent you a link via WhatsApp.
Not allowing me to read. Break news. Not allowing me to read.
1 second. All right. Yeah.
Is that the site itself? It's not allowing me to read it.
Oh, it's not allowed.
Give me 1 second.
I got it. Shamgar, Shalom, Yahweh, Shem, Yahweh Shai. How you doing, man?
To up, sir, to up. To fierce captivity, you know.
See everyone in. All right. All right then.
Not allowing me to read the site.
No sweat. If you can't, I'll read it for time's sake.
Okay.
I'll get it. I'll screen share it as well. All right. Second. I got it. No sweat. Second. Yeah, so I'll get to the articles. Like it. Bear with me a second. All right. So this article is about a boy that stabbed another man in the neck. So this is from the Events News. Dorian Graham's defense argued that the clip was a grenade being thrown in the case. So some of you may not know what that means about a grenade being thrown in the case. Meaning, with this man, he's already going to be locked up for an offense. But now there's some video of him stabbing someone. Now, he was getting locked up for the crime, but in the video, he's saying that that's not him. And that is basically damning to his case, if everyone understands.
Come on.
All right. So now, I'm gonna get into it. So in your own time, you can read it. What happened was he got into a fight in a club, and he stabbed one guy in the neck. He died, and he stabbed another person in the neck, and he lived. So I'm gonna just get to how much years he got. So now Graham was handed a sentence and told he must serve a minimum of 26 years behind ours following the trial last year. So now I don't condone stabbing nobody, but this man, he stabbed somebody and he got 26 years. Now, you know what I mean? He's took someone's life, and is that wrong? Yes, it is. You should not stab nobody, and he did. So, you know, his sentence is a minimum of 26 years. So now, I'm going to give you an example of a white man who stabbed somebody, and we're going to see what he got. I'll send you this one as well. So again, I'm gonna give you another example. So now it's the same crime, but you're gonna notice that it's acceptable for one race of people where it's not looked at as that bad, while as for another race of people, you will get the maximum sentence on that crime. Second. I believe that I'll screen share it with everyone as well. All right. So this attack, which I'm going to screen share with you, this happened in, I believe, 1996. So I'll share it with everyone. So now this is it right here. So if you notice, it says breaking news. So now with this guy here in the UK, have you heard of like the UK gang? One was called the firm. You know, like that's the famous London gang. And this man right here, he's a member of the firm. Now, if one of you could, it's on screen share. Just read that.
Road rage killer Kenneth Noy released from prison. Kenneth Noy has been released from prison after serving almost 29 years for murdering a man on a slip road of the M25. Stephen Cameron, 21, was killed by Noye.
So now this guy, because of road rage, which you know, if no one knows what road rage is in the UK, road rage is, you know what I mean, it's a huge thing. You know, especially with like the white people, they're always angry. You know what I mean. You basically cut them off. You know what I mean, do something they don't like. In the UK, road rage is a very common thing where people fight because they're on the road, they got things to do, they want to go home. And this guy here, a member of the firm, he stabbed a 21-year-old man because of road rage. Imagine that. Now, I don't condone stabbing no one, doing anything evil to anyone, but he stabbed someone over road rage. Read on. Oh, slap. Bear with me. Continue. It's like a bit of a technical. All right, I'll have to read it off my phone. It's not letting me get the full article. Bear with me.
Lucky, that's the same problem I had.
Huh?
That's the same problem I had.
Oh, did you? Okay, no sweat then. It is what it is. All right. So yeah. So now I'll read the rest. So now it lets you know that he stabbed a 21-year-old along the Slit Road in 1996. Then it says after 20 years he's to be released. And now his family, they are appealing against it, saying that he should die in his cell. Meanwhile, the authorities find it fit that he should be released. So now what you're seeing is two people have done the exact same crime. The brother that got 26 years, he used a knife, and this guy who's a member of the firm, he used a knife also. And then look what's happened. One's got 20 years, and the other, who was an Israelite, he got 26 years, and he got a minimum of 26 years. So that's how you see how, depending on your race, depends on the sentence that you will get. Meanwhile, they both done the exact same crime, if everyone understands.
Go on.
Correct, sir.
And that's the problem that we face. So now, here's the problem. Many people that lead blacks and Hispanics, they always talk about, yeah, I'm here help you out, but do they know what they're doing? Do they have an answer for a situation like this? No, they don't. How do you have the answer if you're making us follow the same religion of the people that have oppressed us? You're following the same religions of the people that will give the white man 20 years and then the black man 26 years for the exact same crime. How do they have the answer if they're telling you, well, we gotta work on the inside out? We have to do what they say, when that's not the answer. That's not the solution for blacks and Hispanics. The solution is we need to keep to ourselves. Separation is in the Bible, and God says that we need to be separate, man. In the Bible, give me Ecclesiasticus 6 and the 13th verse. Ecclesiasticus 6 and the 13th verse.
Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 13. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and
What
take
does the
heed.
Bible say?
Separate thyself from thine enemies.
And that's what we need to understand. You got all these people leading black people and don't have the answer. They're always talking about, we need to work on the inside out. We need to do all these things which never helped us. We've been Christians for 400 years. We've worshipped the white man's God. We've been following Islam, and still that hasn't benefited us at all. But if we separate from our enemies and notice that these heathens are our enemies, how is someone for the same crime gonna give the white man 20 years and then someone else 26 years for the exact same crime? They both did the exact same thing. They both picked up a knife and they stabbed someone. Meanwhile, the white man, he's going to be out in 20 years, and the black man a minimum of 26 years. So meaning, at the lowest, he has to do 26 years, and they haven't even let you know his maximum. So what about if he does his 26 years and they're like, no, we believe you need to do longer? Is that fair? No, it's not. Read that one more time.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 6, verse 13. Separate thyself from thine enemies.
And that's what we need to do. Read on.
And take heed of thy friends.
And take heed to thy friends. Who are your friends? The brothers at the I.S.U.P.K. Every black man, every Hispanic man, every native Indian man, they are your friends, man. And that's the problem. Because of religion, we don't know who our friends are, and we don't know who our enemies are, man. We think our friends are the white man, is the Arabs, every East Indian, and they're not your friends. While you think, yeah, he says hello to me, like saying hello to someone means they're your best friend. That's what we believe, and that's not true, man. Your friends are your kinsmen. Your friends are the people of your own race. And the Bible says, take heed to thy friends. And that's the thing that people that lead black people don't teach. Every black bishop, every black deacon, every black leader doesn't teach you that. You know what? You need to stick to your race of people. If you're tired of being handled wrong by the unjust, there's only one thing you can do, and that is just to love your own race of people. And your friends are those that follow the will of the Lord, like what it said in Matthew 12 and the 43rd verse. Who is my other and my father? Those that do the will of the Father. And they're your friends, man. People that are of like mind. Because yes, even though, we are one race, not all of us follow the same laws. If you got an Israelite following 7-day Adventism, yes, he's black man. Yes, he may be a Hispanic man, but is he on the same accord as you? No, he's not. He's out there serving another God. So yes, he's your kinsman, but a friend, no, he's not, man. And the Bible says, take heed to your friends, and those that do the will of the Lord, they are your friends, man. And at the UPK, you got many friends. You got friends in Chicago, the UK, friends in Texas, DC, Harlem. You got friends all over America. You got friends in South America now, man. And they're your friends. So from there, give me Isaiah 5:1. From there, let's get Isaiah 5:1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 1. Now will I sing to my well-beloved, a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Okay, so now the Lord, in your own time, you can read it all the way through, but the Lord is talking to the Israelites, his beloved. Beloved means people that you've always loved. And who has the Lord always loved? The house of Israel. Who has the Lord always loved? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And the Lord is talking to his beloved. Read on.
My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. Verse 2. And he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes.
All right, so would anyone like to guess what the Lord is on about? So, like, in the most easiest way, what is the Lord on about? What is the reason for this analogy? Now, I did say that the beloved is the house of Israel. So that's one thing we do know. So what is the reason for this analogy?
So, okay, sir, can you read it again?
Yeah, no sweat. Start from the second verse, verse 2.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 2. And he fenced it, and gather out the stones thereof, with the twist of the vine, and build the tower in the midst rest therein, and set it to bring forth grapes, and it brought
Shamgar, you got some background noise coming through.
Yeah, so last year, when my batteries are 2%, it's just about to die, but I'll try to jump back on.
I got you. No panic. No sweat. All right then. So for time's sake, meaning in verse 2, the Lord fenced it, meaning the Lord, he protected the house of Israel. And I mean, he gathered out the stones thereof and planted a choice vine, meaning he took out all the wrong of us and gave us a vine, meaning the land, the holy land of Israel. And then he built a tower in the midst, meaning he put watchmen over us. Obviously, on a tower, what do you have? You have watchmen, and the Lord put watchmen all over the house of Israel, and he looked that it should bring forth grapes, meaning that we should do his will. We should, do the will of the Lord. And it brought forth wild grapes, meaning we was rebellious, we sinned, meaning all what we was taught of the Lord, he was expecting what he wanted, and we became wild, man. You know what I mean? We became wild sinning. And the Lord saying, like, I did all this for you, and look what I got in return. Read on, verse 3.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard.
So he's saying, like, we need to examine what happened between me and my vineyard. Why? Because the watchmen, they're meant to be watching. So if this happened, what does that mean? The watchmen or the leaders weren't doing their job. So he's saying, judge between me and you concerning my vineyard. What happened that my vineyard, the house of Israel, they got this way? And do you know what happened? Bad leadership. Black leaders that couldn't do their job. And that's what happens right now. Do you want to know why the vineyard of the Lord is destroyed? Because of black leaders that don't know what they're doing. Because of people that claim they can help black people and they can't. And that's what happens to the vineyard of the Lord, even till this very day, man. David Lammy does not have the answers for black people. All your black deacons, your black imams, they don't have the answers to fix black people. Read on.
Verse 4. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it?
So now the Lord's saying, what more could have been done? What more could I have done to my vineyard, man? The Lord done everything. So when the vineyard is all messed up, is it on the Lord? No, it's not. The Lord done his part, but here's what happened. Watchmen, aka leaders, they did not do their job, and that's the problem. When you see black people destroyed, don't you ever blame them. When people write articles about black people get locked up for a longer time, and you go, well, look, we're doing the crimes. Don't blame them. You blame black leadership for what they've taught us, man. When you teach black people, join the religions of your enemies, you destroy the minds of black men, man. When you teach black people, love everyone, that destroys the minds of black people. And that's the problem. The Lord done his part. The watchmen or the leaders, they did not do their part, man. They did not tell us that separation is a must. We can have our own shops, be a law unto ourselves. They ain't taught us this. They have you believing, well, if you want to solve anything, go to the white man's court. And you're telling me at the I.S.U.P.K, we can't handle it. Any issue you got, we can handle it, man. Under commanding General Yahanna, we can handle any issue in the Black, Hispanic, and the Native Indian communities. We can handle all of it. Read on.
Wherefore, when it looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. Verse 5. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down.
Oh, sorry. So now, because we don't serve the Lord's saying, you know what? I'm going to take my wall away. What does the wall of the Lord represent?
Salakia?
I'd like to give it a shot. So when it says he will take the wall away, what does the wall of the Lord represent?
It's protection. The Lord protection.
That's right, the protection. So the Lord saying, because we ain't serving him and the leaders we have ain't doing their job, he took his wall away. That's why in these last days, black men are getting, 26 years for a crime. Meanwhile, a white man gets 20 years. That these things happen, what you see going on right now, because the Lord, he's taking his wall away, man. And why? Because the leaders ain't doing their job. The leaders are too busy teaching us we're African. The leaders are too busy talking about God loves everyone. It don't matter who you love. Love don't see color. And that's the problem. And because of because them not doing their job, the Lord, he took his wall away, his protection away. And that's why we're in England being treated in an unfair way. We're in Amsterdam going through the same thing. We're in America going through the exact same thing. Read on.
Verse 6. And I will lay it waste, and it shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. Verse 7. Verse 7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
So it even lets you know that the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. So if anyone was reading it, wondering what the vineyard was, as you read on, it lets you know that the vineyard of the Lord is the house of Israel. So we're that vineyard, and because our leaders didn't do their job on the watchtower, that's why we fail. And then the more we sin, the Lord, he took away his wall, and now all the nations devour us. We're being treated in an unjust way wherever we are. And it all comes down to the leadership we have, and they don't have the answers. That's always been the problem. Nothing's wrong with the laws. Nothing's wrong with the Lord. It's just the leadership. We follow blind leaders that don't have the answers. We look up to people and go, he's wise. I need to be under him. And still, he doesn't have the answers. And that's always been the problem. That's why when Yahushua came, what happened? He was going against the scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. Why? Because they was our leadership at that time. And he knew what the issue was, just the leadership. Read on.
And the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry.
So we're not taught righteousness, and guess what? We are oppressed. He's saying, why is this? Because the leaders, they don't have the answers. Every leader, you know what I mean? They're not teaching you righteousness. That's why you are oppressed and you cry, because you're not being taught what you need to be on the side of the Lord. What many black leaders don't let you know is that the Lord is against you. If you ain't serving the Lord, he's against you. But then what did they do? They teach you God loves you no matter what you do. The Lord always loves you no matter what. And that's why you cry and you're oppressed and there's no righteousness. Read on.
Verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that they lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth.
All right. So can anyone break that down? What does verse 8 mean about woe unto them that join house to house, field to field, till there be no place found in the midst of the earth?
Those that join different religions.
That's right. So, so now how do we relate this to the leadership that we have? What is a common thing that everyone that leads black people always does?
Just tries to teach us of Christianity.
That's right. So I'll give example. So meaning anyone that's ever led blacks and Hispanics, they always try to join you onto something. Like in the 60s, the Rastas was a big movement. And what happened? They joined the Irish. Now, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. We are not Rastas in no way, shape, or form. But you know what I mean? They believed in fight the power, fight oppression, fight the racist white man. And then what happened? They joined house to house. They joined the Irish. I don't know why, but that's what they did. And like anyone that leads black people, they always try to join you onto something, whether it's Pan-Africanism, whether it's the church, whether it's the mosque. And that's us. The leaders that we have, they join you from house to house, field to field, till they may be placed alone in the earth, meaning they will join you onto everything till there's nothing left. And that's the problem that we have with the leadership of blacks and Hispanics. They don't tell you to separate and to be strong and to have strength with being alone. But what do they do? Well, for us to fight the power, you gotta go join the mosque. For you to fight the power, you gotta go be a part of Egyptology. You gotta go follow the Nation of Islam. You gotta join the Irish, who is also oppressed like us. And that's the problem. Our people join house to house, field to field. The leaders that we have, that's what they always do. Skip to the 13th verse.
Verse 13.
Come.
Therefore, my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge.
Because we have what?
No knowledge.
No knowledge. So why is that? Because our leaders haven't taught us the knowledge that we are meant to have. We are enslaved because we lack the knowledge of the Lord. And who's to blame for that? Leaders. Meanwhile, they talk about, well, black people or ethnic minorities, they suffer to get a longer sentence. Then what do we need to do to prevent that? Do they have the answer? No, they don't. Even though they can spot things out, do they have the answer for it? No. We showed you that the knowledge they profess to have, they don't have it. They don't have the knowledge to free blacks and Hispanics. They don't have the knowledge to tell the black man, separate. You can be a law unto yourself. You can have a government of your own amongst your own race of people. They don't have the knowledge to even do that, man. Read on.
And their honorable men are famished.
And the honorable men, meaning the men that you respect, they're famished, meaning they don't have no knowledge, they're famished, they're dry, thirsty of the knowledge of God. The honorable men are famished, they got no knowledge, which is heavy because in the black community and the Hispanic community, we look up to them like, they got knowledge, they got the answers. And the Bible says they are famished. They got no knowledge. They got no wisdom. They got no understanding. Read on.
and their multitude dried up with thirst.
And the multitude dried up with thirst. Someone please maybe understand that part there. What does it mean? The multitude are dried up with thirst.
People are lack of knowledge.
That's true, but remember I said the honorable man, he is famished, and the multitude dried up with thirst. So what does that mean? Right. Have these words in mind: the famished and the thirst. Famished, thirst.
It's like the followers are looking for knowledge.
That's right. Remember, the honorable man, the man that they look up to, he's famished. He's got no wisdom, no knowledge. And the multitude, you're listening to a man that is famished. You're dried up with thirst. You don't know nothing too. Because who you show your honor to, the man that you say he's honorable, he's famished. And if you learn of him, you are dried up with thirst. That's why you're in the church, dried up with thirst. You're in the mosque, dried up with thirst. You're in Egyptology, dried up with thirst. Why? Because the honorable man, he is famished. Read on.
Verse 14. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it.
And because we don't have the knowledge of the Lord, hell has enlarged itself. And make no mistake, this is not talking about hell where there's fire and pitchforks. Hell is a condition on the earth. And even the word hell, if you look it up, it's the grave. That's all it means. They're saying with the slavery that we're in, because we don't have the knowledge of the Lord, hell has enlarged itself. Our conditions gotten worse because the honorable man, he's famished, and hell has enlarged itself. We ain't got no knowledge, and we're in hell in the church, in the mosque, following leaders that don't have no knowledge. From there, give me Luke 6 and 39. Luke 6 and the 39th verse.
Luke chapter 6, verse 39. And he spake a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind?
So now he's saying, can the blind lead the blind? And of course, anyone with common sense will tell you no. The blind cannot lead the blind, or then who's gonna know where to go? And with black leaders, that's the problem. They're blind. Although they speak eloquent, wear the suit and tie, and shake hands with prominent white men, they're blind. They don't know what to do with you. They don't know where you should go, what you should do, and they're blind. And Christ knew it. And of course, at this time, Christ was talking to about the scribes and the Pharisees. And of course, we use it today for other black leaders too. But can the blind lead the blind? Obviously not. Read on.
Shall they not both fall into the ditch?
And that's the problem. We follow black leaders and we fall into the ditch. We fall into hell, man. We fall into the trap of the church, the trap of the mosque, into the trap of love everyone. And that if you want to succeed in life, you need to join everyone. And that's the ditch right there, man. When you follow them, you fall into traps. And that's something that has always been hindering black people, that we need to separate. Like we read, separate from thine enemies. That's the answer. But no black leader, he ain't courageous enough to even say that, man. He's not courageous enough to say that. He wants you to join onto them and somehow make it work. When, how can you join people that are racist, man? How can you join people that treat you unfair? For the same crime, they gave the black man 26 years. And matter of fact, no, I'll rephrase that, a minimum of 26 years, and gave the white man 20 years, and then he's out. And both of them did the same crime. And then the statistics even show you that black people, for crimes of drugs and violence, they get sentenced higher than white people. So is it something we're making up? These are facts. It's not opinions. And then you're being taught by black leaders, you must join them. You must go in their churches. You must get into their political way of life. We need to separate, man. And the I.S.U.P.K, since 1969, that's what we have always taught every black man, every Hispanic man, every Indian man. From there, give me Matthew 15 and the 14th verse.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 24.
Oh, it's like a verse. It's like a Matthew 15 and the 14th verse.
14 verse. Salakia.
1-4.
Chapter 15, verse 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind.
And that's what we need to understand. We need to let them alone. Don't look to Akala. Don't look to David Lammy. Don't look to Miss Dynamite. Don't look to anyone that claims they can lead black people, except anyone from the I.S.U.P.K. Let them alone. Leave them alone. That's how you would say in these days, leave them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, man. Leave them alone. They can't help you. You know, if they could help you, they would have fixed you by now, but they can't. They're trying to join you on to another nation of people. They're trying to join you on another religion, even though the statistics clearly show you that black people in the UK are treated unfair in the law. They're still trying to join you onto that same race of people, and that's the problem. Read that one more time.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind.
And then let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, man. They're just blind people leading other people that are blind. Anyone who they lead, they're not found, man. Anyone who they lead, they don't have the answers. Anyone who they lead doesn't know what to do, and they don't have it, man. And we look up to them. We, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna contact David Lammy. Surely he knows what to do, and he doesn't have the answers. Akala doesn't have the answers. Akala's teaching you you're African, and you ain't African. We got the records, we got the archives, and we are not African, man. We are the Israelites. We are the Jews that lived in West Africa. And from there, give me 1 Corinthians 6:1.
That's 6-1. Salaki, is that 6-1?
That's right. 1 Corinthians 6:1.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to the law before the unjust?
So now we're saying, any of you have a matter against one another. So if we have a dispute with Paul in Corinthians 6:1, he's letting us know if we have a matter or an issue one with another, read.
Go to the law before the unjust.
So now, if we have a matter against one another, you're going to go to the law before the unjust. Now, who is the unjust? The white man. He's the unjust. He doesn't follow the laws of God. Whenever you go to court, do you know what you're doing? You're going to the unjust man. When you go to the white man's law system, you're going to the unjust. You're going to people that enslaved your ancestors, and you think you're going to get something just from them. Never. Same people that whipped your ancestors' backs, made them pick sugar cane for nothing, made them pick cotton, made them pick coffee beans. They're the unjust. And you go to their law and you can't handle it yourselves. Have in mind, we keep the laws, we keep the commandments, and you leave us to go to the law of the unjust, to go to the white man's law, to solve something between us, both of us that are righteous. Read on.
And not before the saints.
And not before who?
The saints.
And not before the saints. So, according to the Bible, who are the saints of the Most High?
Israelite.
That's right. The Israelites are the saints of the Most High. You know what I mean? You can go to Amos 5 and 25, Psalms 148 to 19. You know, in your precept books, write them down. And those verses will show you that the saints are the Israelites. So what is it saying here? You have a matter against each other, and you're going to go to the unjust, meaning the white man, and not the saints. So you're going to go to the white man to resolve your matters, and not to Israelites, not to brothers that are just, not to brothers that keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. And that's the problem. Any person that leads black people, they've never ever taught this. Malcolm X, he never taught this. Martin Luther King, he didn't teach this. Marcus Garvey, he didn't teach this. But at the I.S.U.P.K, we teach this. We gotta separate. And any issues you have, come before the saints, man. Contact any officer, Officer Dungabar, Officer Karafia. Contact, you know what I mean, to Mashak Mayon. We are the saints of the Most High, commanding Gen.YAHANNA, Saint of the Most High, General Mahayman, General Mayak, General Hazayan, General Kubalamaf, General Shawamar. You know what I mean? Captain Mawakad, Captain Tazaya. We are the saints of the Most High. You have an issue, go before the saints, man. You don't need to go into the one unjust law and, you know what I mean, face 26 years. That's what the Bible's saying. If you're tired of the law system and how it's unfair to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, bring your issues before the saints, man. Read on.
Verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
So he's letting them know, do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? Meaning in the kingdom of heaven, those same saints, those same Israelites, you're going to judge the whole world, man. You're going to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. So why don't you practice it now? You know, in the kingdom of heaven, nothing is going to magically happen. What you're practicing for right now, you're going to be doing in the kingdom of heaven. You mean we keep the laws now? Why? Because in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have to keep the laws. You keep the Passover now, because in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to be keeping the Passover. And we judge matters now, because in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to judge the whole world. So why don't you come to the saints right now? Because in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to come to us whether you like it or not. Ain't no white man with that gay wig on in the kingdom of heaven. Ain't no white man, you mean that you're going to be sitting in the kingdom of heaven to judge your matters. So it's better that you come to the saints right now, man. Because the saints, we're going to judge the world. Read on.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matter?
So we can't judge the smallest matters. Yes, we can. The saints are going to judge the whole world, man. Even the smallest matters. So if you're a black man, you're a Hispanic man, you're an Indian man, and there's a matter, bring it to the saints, man. Bring it to 394 Lodge Road, postcode B185PW, man. Contact us and we will judge your smallest matters. You don't need to go to David Lammy. You don't need to go to Akala. You don't need to go to the white man's law system. You bring it to the saints. Or it's like a General Kathongaba, saint of the Lord. General Kubala Mah, saints of the Lord, man. Every general, every captain, every officer, you are the saints of the Lord, man. And if we're going to judge even the smallest matters, so you better come to us now. So you mean even the smallest matters, read on.
Verse 3. Know ye not that we shall judge angels?
Uh-huh.
How much more things that pertain to this life?
So we're going to even judge angels. So how much more things pertain to this life? Meaning, how much things shall we judge pertaining to this life? Meaning everything. You got a problem in anything, bring it to the saint, bring it to the saints of the Lord, man. And that's what with Paul, he was letting the church of Corinth know, man, that why would you go to the law of the unjust? Now, at that time, it was Rome. You know what I mean? You have an issue. Why are you bringing it to Rome and not before the saints? And likewise, even today, why would you go to the white man's magistrates? Why would you go to the white man's courts and not bring it to the saints? We read the article about how you mean it is a racially that like with the system that they have is racist. Blacks and ethnic groups they suffer a longer sentence more than white people in crimes relating to drugs and violence. So if you know a system is like that, why would you go to them? Wouldn't you bring it to the saints that judge righteous judgment? Wouldn't you go to the saints that would judge righteously? Why would you not do that? Why would you go to someone that's going to do something and go, well, he's black. I'll just give him 26 years. I'll give him 30 years. Then in his next case, if a white man comes, just do 15 years, just do 20 years. And why would you do that? Read on.
Verse 4. If then ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
So meaning set them to judge, even at least in the church, meaning among ourselves. If you know in the Bible, the saints are going to judge the world, at least amongst us, the church. Now, the word church is not literally a house. It just means where Israelites dwell or a gathering of Israelites. So we're saying, come on, at least amongst us, we can at least judge, man. At least among us, if we have an issue, we can resolve it. If you read the Bible and you know we're going to judge the world, even the small things that pertain to this world, then at least among us, we should judge. Read on.
Verse 5. I speak to you shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you?
So why is he saying that? Why is he saying, I speak to your shame that there is not a wise man among you? Make me understand that. Why is he saying, I speak to your shame that there is not a wise man among you? Now think about all of what we have read.
Salakia.
Yeah,
Shameful that you don't have one wise man among you, the brethren.
that's true. But with this wise man, what would he be doing?
Sharing the knowledge.
That's true. But in what we are reading about from verse 1 on down, all right.
Okay. Salakia.
Yep.
brother with understanding of the law on how to deal with matters among brethren.
That's right. You got it. It's the matters among each other. There wasn't a wise man among us. How did he know? Because they went to the law of the unjust. They went to the Romans whenever they had a issue with each other. That's what he's saying. Like, what? Like, there ain't no wise men among you. You're telling me amongst all of you that keep the law, serve the Lord, none of you can't resolve the issues among each other. And that's what black people need to know, man, that you can resolve your issues. The problem that we have is we worship the white man. You think whatever he approves of means something. If he says yes, that makes sense, then you believe yes, it makes sense. And that's not always the case. Just because a white man may not agree with how we resolve things, in the eyes of the Lord, it's righteous, man. When black people resolve issues among each other in the sight of the Lord, that stuff is righteous. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. Even back then, many of them went to Rome to resolve their issues. And with Paul, who wrote this epistle, this letter right here, he's telling him, like, there ain't no wise men among you. If you lot was wise, you wouldn't go to the unjust. You would resolve it among yourselves. Read on.
Verse 6. But brother goeth to the law with brother, and that before the unbelievers.
So he's saying, why don't you go to the law with someone who believes the law? In this context, other is another person that, you know, keeps the same laws, statutes, and commandments of you, and you go before a unbeliever. You go before someone that doesn't keep the same laws as you. Like, why would you do that? Why would you have a issue and go to a unbeliever? Go before the white man who don't believe in God, first and foremost. Go before a white man that's a 7-day Adventist, a Catholic, and then you think you standing before him, he's gonna judge righteously. A lot of people don't know this, but white people don't care about us, man. You're in court is like, oh, some black case. He can't be bothered. Here's half of it, and just, you know what I mean. He probably ain't even read about why you even in court, and just does some bogus judgment. And that's what we do, man. We go to unbelievers, man. But what I'm gonna do, you know, like, even in history, I'm gonna show you that at certain times in history as Israelites, we was a law unto ourselves, and the Romans, they even writ about it. This is a book called The Invention of Racism in Classical Antiquity by Benjamin Isaac. You know, this is a book you can get on Amazon right here. Now, I'm going to go into the section of Rome and the Jews at page 453. Get there. Page 453. And in this same book, it lets you know that the Jews, they was a law unto themselves, that we was a law so much unto ourselves that the Romans even hated us for it as well. 1 second. Yeah, page 453. The similarity in the chapter of the histories of Tacticus. So now with this guy here, Tacticus, he's a historian, and he saw the Jews and repeats that the Jews, while maintaining strict loyalty towards one another. So we had that, man. At one point in time in history, we had strict loyalty one to another. It wasn't like now where we're taught to love everyone, be a part of everyone, serve everyone. In history, the Jews, us, we had loyalty one towards another, feel hostility and hatred towards all other. They institute circumcision to distinguish themselves thereby from every other people. They those who they hate those and despise their gods. So we were separate, even when we was scattered in Rome. We were still one towards another, and we hated the other nations' gods, even though we was in another land. It's like it, and they hate their way of life. So meaning even in Rome, Jews hated the Roman way of life. So we can live in a country that ain't ours, be a law unto ourselves, and have love one towards another, and be a law unto ourselves. We can have separation in England, just like ancient Jews in Rome. We can do it, man. But here's the problem: leaders of black people, what are they trying to get in our heads? You gotta join them. You gotta wear their suit and tie. You gotta go in that church. You gotta go in that mosque. You gotta accept them. Meanwhile, in history written by Tacitus, he's telling you that the Jews, even in Rome, they was hostile towards everyone else. They just loved one another. They hated the Roman gods, the Roman way of life. So we can do it, man. Historically, this happened before, and historically, it can happen today. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen right now. If people start following blind leaders and coming to I.S.U.P.K under commanding Gen.YAHANNA, it can happen today, right now, man. But let me skip back a page, the 450th page. Turning now to the concepts and the stereotypes about Jews, it is clear that they are accused of being anti-social. So meaning, when people saw the Jews, they're like, the Jews, they keep themselves to themselves. They don't really interact with them, anyone else. And that's how we was at one point. We was in Rome, keeping the laws, and we kept ourselves to ourselves. At one point, we didn't go to the laws of the unjust. We kept ourselves all to ourselves, man. They cut themselves off from the rest of humanity, and that's what they did. Our ancient ancestors in Rome, they cut themselves off from humanity. They was a law unto themselves. They didn't go to the law of the unjust. These historians are saying they literally cut themselves off from humanity, even though they lived in Rome, and that's like us. Even though we live in the UK, even though we live in Amsterdam, even though we live in America, Washington, D.C., Harlem, Los Angeles, we can cut ourselves off and be a law unto ourselves. This idea is expressed by Diodorus, citing Heticus and Abdera in the passages of Dorus, which may or may not be based on Pausanias, who was another historian who wrote about the Jews. These describe the friends of Antiochus Sides and advising him to wipe out completely the Jewish population. So they wanted the Jewish population in Rome dead, simply because we were separate. We would not interact with them. We would not serve their Roman gods, follow their Roman holidays. And that's how they felt. But the point being is, we would not follow their way of life. So historically, we've done it before. Historically, we have been a law unto ourselves, and we can do it tonight, man. Every black man starts following those blind leaders of the blind. Every black man puts down Christianity, Egyptology, Islam, all these pagan religions, you can serve the Lord and you'll be a law unto yourself. You won't need to go to the white man's law and have him hating you, have him looking down upon you, have him giving you 26 years. Meanwhile, a white man of his own race, he just gives 20 years. And you can have that man tomorrow if you serve the Lord and you separate, you can have that man. From there, give me Isaiah 1 and 26.
Book of Isaiah
1 and 26.
1 verse 26. And I will restore Salakia. And I will restore thy judges as the first, and thy counselors as the beginning.
All right.
Afterward,
Right there. So the Lord, through Isaiah, he's telling him what will happen in the last days. So this is a prophetical event. And what did Isaiah get from the Lord? That he will restore our judges and our counselors like at the beginning. Meaning what? When we had our land, there was people that they were there to judge, and we had counselors, people that you would go to and get wise advice. And the Lord said in these last days, he's going to restore them, meaning they're not here, and the Lord's going to bring them back, which shows you what? Any black leader you got right now, he's not the judge of the Lord. He's not the counselor of the Lord, because the Lord says he will restore them. So meaning anyone, whether it's Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, what's some other ones? Luther King, you know what I mean? The Jerome Ali. These people ain't the judges of the Lord, because the Bible says in the last days he will restore them. So they wasn't, man. They wasn't the leaders that people thought they were. Read that again.
Salakia. And I will restore thy judges as the first, and thy counselors as the beginning.
Yeah.
Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness.
And so keep that in mind. After he restores these men, then we, meaning all the Israelites, we shall be called the city of righteousness, meaning we're going to be a nation of people that keep the commandments. We show that any leader that teaches you don't serve the Lord, don't keep the commandments, he's not a judge restored by the Lord. He's not a counselor restored by the Lord. We showed you that that's not a man of God. So your David Lamis, your Akalas, your Yomin, these so-called prominent men, they're not the judges of the Lord. Slaki Akim, bear with me 1 second. Yeah, Slaki. So yeah, anyone that's claiming to lead black people and they've never taught you the law, then they can't be a judge restored by the Lord. He said, once he restores these men, then you're going to be called the city of righteousness, meaning all the Israelites, they're going to be people that serve the Lord, people that keep the commandments. So David, Lamy, Akala, you know what I mean, and all the rest of them, they obviously ain't a judge restored by the Lord. They are not counselors restored by the Lord. Read on. Isaiah 1 and 27. You got that Agawa. Isaiah 1 and 26. What up? I'm sorry, the brother from Amsterdam. I think your microphone's on. It's off.
Salakia.
You know, sweat. Don't sweat. It happens half of the time. You got
Isaiah,
Isaiah 1 and 26 again.
Isaiah chapter 1, verse 26. And I will restore thy judges as the first, and thy counselors as the beginning. Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the
There's,
faithful city.
so once the Lord restores these men, then the Israelites are going to keep the law. Why? Because the people that are meant to judge and meant to counsel, they are restored. Read on.
Verse 27. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment.
So
And
now
her con-
that's key. If you know that Zion is going to be redeemed, but now it's going to be redeemed with judgment, meaning you're going to have to be judged. You're going to have to be told this is wrong, that's wrong. You can't do this. So the only way to fix Israelites is by if you judge. Now, of course, in verse 26, he's going to restore them. So Zion's going to be redeemed by men that judge, men that you go to, and they have the answers. That's how Zion is going to be redeemed by real black leaders. Read on.
and her converts with righteousness.
And her converts. Who are the converts? Israelites that don't keep the law, Israelites that are in the church, Israelites that are in the mosque. They're the converts. It ain't talking about other nations, but that's another discussion in itself. From there, give me Deuteronomy 1 and 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 15. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over 1,000.
So now he took wise men out of us and made them captains and leaders, man. You know, people all talk about, I want to be a leader. And one criteria or one critique of a leader is that he's going to be wise. Now, the problem is the people that we think are wise, they are not wise. If you know what's going on and that England, as well as Amsterdam, as well as America, and wherever we are is racist, if you're trying to join us onto them, is that wise? If you're trying to make us follow their religions, is that wise? And that's why the Lord, he only made the leaders wise men, men that would have the common sense to go, well, no, there's no point us following their religions. There's no point trying to follow or be a part of them because they're racist. Anyone that's not for me, why would you join them? Read on.
Captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes.
There, so of course, this is a bit of a sidebar right here, but in the UPK, this is where rank originates from. So you know what I mean? Even in the Bible, men had rank and positions. Read on.
Verse 16. And I change your judges. Salakia. And I charge your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren.
What did it say?
Hear the causes between your brethren.
So now a judge, he's meant to hear the cause. So a cause is an issue or an ought. So he told them, hear the causes, man. So any judge, we can be a law unto ourselves. A righteous judge, he's meant to hear the cause. You don't need to go to the law of the unjust. Imagine that. You stand up before a white man like his great. Meanwhile, his great granddad oppressed yours, man. His great granddad raped one of your grandmothers, man. His great granddad had one of your ancestors working in the West Indies for nothing. And you stand up before him like he knows the truth. You stand up before him like, yes, your honor. Like, nah. Who is he? Eats pork, goes to church on Sunday, and then you stand up before him like he's something righteous. You want to go to his cause when you can come to the court of the saints. That's the problem, man. You're supposed to come to the judges of the Lord, man, and we would hear your cause and we judge righteously, not like the English court system who gives black men 26 years for a knife crime and gives a white man 20 years. And I phrase it, a minimum of 26 years. Read on.
And judge righteously between every man and his brother.
And they was given a law, they was given an order, judge righteously between every man. I mean, if you are a judge, you can't just have someone that you like and think, you know what, I'm gonna just help him out. The Bible says, judge righteously between every man. And look, we would do that. The court system in England, they will not do it, man. The court system in Amsterdam, they will not do it. The court system in America, forget about it, man. Who's watched that documentary on the Netflix? It's about the five, what's it called? It's the Central Park rape. Who has
Central Park 5?
Has anyone watched it or has anyone heard about it?
Khan.
All right, yeah, it's called, what's it called? The Central Park 5. Yeah, that's the one.
I think the actual case was a Central Park 5, but I think the series has a different name, if I'm not mistaken.
When they see us.
When they see us. Khan.
That sounds... Now, in the Bible, we judge righteously. You watch that documentary, as a man, you might cry. I'm being serious with you. You watch that, you might end up bawling, and I'm not joking. That's an understatement. How them young boys, how they were handled, that's racism. And you want to go and be judged by them. You watch it, man. The police were unfair to them. The police told the young boys, say you did it and we'll let you go. Like, that makes any sense. Of course, they're going to get knocked off. But while it was, because the whole world was watching and this woman got raped and was dead, they wanted to arrest anyone. And these 5 young boys, they just blamed it on them. And these boys are 80 years, man, behind bars for a crime they did not do. The evidence said they did not do it. And the police said, yes, they did. Yes, they did. And the solicitors they were saying, listen, it's not them. It don't match the DNA, don't match the times. And they did not care, man. And you want to be judged by them and not the saints. Something's wrong with you, man. You don't want to go and be judged you don't want to go and get judged by men of the Lord. Something's wrong with you, man. And the saints, we judge righteously. I watched that documentary and I was fuming. You know what I mean? At the end of it, the curse of mine, like, let loose all the terrorists, let them go to and fro. I was fuming. When they got released, I was like, that is not right, man. That is wrong. And then even worse, with the money they got for being wrongfully arrested, a lot of people don't even know this. They did not even get the money. All that money went went towards all the fees of the judges and the solicitors. They hardly got even none of that. So why would we go to them to be judged? When you got judges that are commanded by the Lord to judge righteously, read that again.
And judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with them. Verse 17. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great.
And that's key, man. You watch that documentary right there. They didn't hear the cause of everyone. The black people in this case, they were the all ones. They were small. And what happened with the judge, she didn't want to hear that. She's wanting someone to get locked up for the rape and the murder of some white woman. And she didn't hear the cause, man. And the Bible, we are forbidden to do unrighteous judgment, man. In the Bible, we are forbidden to not hear the cause of the small, someone who ain't rich, someone who ain't probably as noticeable as someone that is rich. You still have to hear his cause, and that's the Bible. You hear the cause of every Israelite, not like that show where they're poor, they're black. You know what? They did it, man, and just lock them up. That's not what we do, man. Slakia, someone wanted to say something.
Salakia, Donald Trump invested almost 100 grand in their arrest.
That's right. And that's heavy too. Even though these men ain't innocent, God, even though these men are innocent and the evidence shows they're innocent, a man came up and confessed, it was me. That's all the evidence that you need. His fingernail DNA matched, etc. Donald Trump, he wanted to put another 100 grand in the case to get them locked up again. Why? Because like any white man, he can't take it when it's wrong. He can't take it when, you know what, we was wrong. So even though they're innocent, like, no, these guys are criminals. And here's the problem. We want to be judged by them. We go to their court and not the saints. That's the problem. So, you know what I mean? Why would you want to be judged by them when even when you're innocent, no, he's guilty? And you know what I mean? Why would we want to be judged by them? Read on.
Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judge is God's, and the cause that
You should not be afraid of the face of man, meaning don't care if that person's angry, don't care if that person's sad, don't look on the face like, but if I have to judge this way, he might be sad, or this person who's rich might be angry. You don't care about that. That judgment is of the Lord. That's what the Lord said you have to do according to his law. Read on.
and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it.
There, so if there's something that a judge could not judge, you know, it was a bit complicated for him, then you will bring it up to Moses at that time. Now, of course, in these last days, we bring it to commanding GEN.YAHANNA. That's what we do. And we can do it right now. We can do it, man. Why would you go to the court system of your enemies and they hate you? Why would you go to the court system of the people that, you know what I mean, wanted 5 innocent young boys locked up, even when the evidence was against them in America? Why would you go to a court system that, you know, for the same crime you're doing, a white man does, he will give you a longer time? And why would we go there, man? Why? Because of black leaders that haven't taught us to separate. Because of black leaders that are too busy and trying to join you onto another race of people. And that's always been the problem. Any more on that? Read verse 18.
Verse 18. And I command you at that time all the things which ye should do.
And we was commanded all the things that we should do. So what we was commanded then, we can do it right now. And will it work? Yes, it will. You know, this Bible that we read is not a fairy tale book. You know, this Bible has instructions, rules, regulations, statutes, and commandments. And if we live like this, we will have the kingdom of heaven on earth tomorrow, man. If we apply this Bible, you know what I mean, and we got every Israelite right, Christ will crack that sky tonight, man. Well, again, we're following blind leaders, people that don't have the answers. So like it. I got a question in the chat. I believe it's from the brother Gary Thompson. So like it, everyone. What is the breakdown? What is Genesis 15 referring to Egypt to America? All right, let's get that. Let's get Genesis 15 and the 13th verse.
Genesis chapter 15, verse 13.
Con.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and
Okay.
shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Okay. This is talking about Egypt. I know, like, you know, there's fake Israelite groups out there that like to talk about it's America. You know what I mean? And they try to go, well, slavery started roughly 1619, so 2019, we should be redeemed. And it's not talking about that. This is talking about Egypt. In Exodus, I'll get the verse here. It says 400 years. And as you read on, matter of fact, read the next verse as well.
And thou, and also that nation whom they shall serve, will I judge. And
Uh-huh.
afterward shall they come out with great substance.
And also in Exodus, it lets you know that this happened. So the nation that the Lord urged was the Egyptians, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance. And that happened in Exodus. What did it say? They borrowed of the Egyptians. So the Egyptians, they gave them lots of gold, diamonds, etc. So that's how we left with the great substance. But let me get the verse in Exodus for you. It might be in Exodus 12.
Go on.
It's when they left Egypt after the Passover.
Was that Exodus? Is that Exodus 13 or 14? One of the two.
Is it Exodus 13 and 14?
I think it's
One second.
no Salakia.
One second. I'll just paraphrase it online. Second. But you'll use this precept and the other one when they borrowed of the Egyptians to show you that what happened in Genesis 15 and the 13th verse, that happened. All right, 430 years in Egypt. Second. That is Exodus, the 12th chapter and the 40th verse 40.
Exodus 12, chapter 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
So, okay, over here, it adds on another 30 years. Why? Because obviously, before it was enslaved, we was in the land. Of course, when like Egypt had all the grain and Osif was there. That's what over here it gives a bit more time. But what you read in Genesis 15 and the 13th verse, that is Egypt. So you use that, and then the borrowing of the Egyptians mean that once they was judged by God, that you know what I mean, we left with great substance. All right. All right. Skip up to verse 35.
Exodus 12, chapter 12, verse 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptian jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
There, so now you hold on to that, and in Genesis 15 and 13, let's read the 14th verse just to show you that that happened. 15 and 14, and
Genesis,
also that's Asian whom they shall serve, I will judge. So meaning now they was judged by the Most High. They lost all of their firstborn. You know what I mean? Basically the firstborn of every Egyptian, everything that was in their house. So was the Egyptians judged? Yes, they was. It's safe to say that. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Read it again. Exodus 12 and 35.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. Substance, you want? Salaki, do you want substance?
I was in verse 35 to show you what happened in Genesis 15 and 13 on down.
Exodus 12 and verse 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptian jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
There, so that happened. So you know the Egyptians, they was judged by the Lord, and we left with great obstance. And then Exodus 12 and 35 lets you know we took of them jewels of silver, gold, and raiment. So Genesis 15 and 13 is talking about Egypt. It's got nothing to do with America. That already happened. So for the brother, if you understand, just give me a con, give me a yeah. If you understand, that is of course. I got some the comments online. Hadasar watched that documentary as well. 41 million. That's right. That's right. And so it seems like we're not alone. Like a lot of people watch that same documentary as well. All right. Let's get Deuteronomy 16 and 18.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 18. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates.
So now, this was a law that we had. Judges and officers shall we make in all of our gates. And we can have that now, man. You will need to go to some racist judge and a system that is against you, when you can have judges and officers in your gates, in the community that you're in, man. And that's what we need to understand. We got to start begging our oppressors to you know what I mean, deal nice with us. When it's their land, they're never going to do it. So what do we need to do? Separate and have the judges and officers in our gates, in the communities that we are in. Reader.
In the gates. Lock you. Oh. Which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy trial.
And with those men that judge, they come from the Lord, man. The Lord set these men up. So why would you go to the unjust when you can go to the judges and the officers that are of the Lord, man? And that's the problem. We don't understand that. We're too busy trying to seek the love of our enemies, seek the love of our oppressors, man. Seek the love of those that, for the same crime, they will lock you up even longer. And that's the problem, man. But we're up on the time, right? Has anyone got any questions before we shut down? Let's check online. Let's tie that up. No. Check the YouTube. All right, then. So everyone to up. So till next week. This is the I.S.U.P.K on the commanding GEN.YAHANNA. In the UK, we do classes 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well. At the same time, 7 o'clock till 9, 7 in the afternoon till 9. You know what I mean? You got the Monday history class, you got the Wednesday law class, and the Thursday scripture breakdown class. Also, do you know what I mean? Do you remember to pay your 10%, the tithes, man? You know, that's a law just like every other law. You know, you send that to the priests and the prophets of the Lord, man. And in America, also, there are taxes all throughout the week. In the UK time, that'll be at 12 a.m. So you got the Tuesday brotherhood class, Wednesday law class, Thursday scripture breakdown class, and the Friday class is the Lashawan Kodash, which is a language class. Then on the Saturday in the UK, that'll be at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. In America, in the UK time, that will be at 5 in the afternoon, where we read out the law in the Lashawan Kodash, which is the Hebrew tongue. Then we translate it into the English language. So this is the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. And with that, I'm just gonna give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I.M.A.D.I.U.M, which means stand. All right, men of Israel, I.M.A.D.I.U.M Shabbat. I.M.A.D.I.U.M, Barak, Yahweh, Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatha, Yad Yamatah, class dismissed. Up until next week, Israel. Shalom.